Good morning, I'm Shachar Peled. This is i24 News with continuing coverage of the fighting between Israel and Hamas, now in its 27th day. The Israeli military released a statement early Sunday morning announcing the death of kidnapped Israeli soldier 2nd Lieutenant Hadar Goldin, saying that he was killed in fighting in Gaza. According to the IDF statement, quote, prior to the decision, all medical considerations, religious observances, as well as additional relevant issues were taken into consideration. A special panel headed by Israeli military chief Rabbi Rafi Peretz concluded Goldin's death based on, quote, findings in the field. Earlier this morning, a spokesperson on behalf of the Goldin family gave the following announcement.
With great sorrow, the Goldin family announces that it accepts the IDF's pronouncement that 2nd Lieutenant Hadar Goldin, a commander in the Givati elite unit, died in fighting in Rafah. The family thanks the whole country of Israel for its support, and the exact date of the funeral will be announced in the near future. On behalf of the family, I ask every person in Israel to come and accompany Hadar in his final burial.
Now, Israel's Gaza operation will continue with full force, even as Israeli troops are partially retreating from the Gaza Strip. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said at a press conference Saturday evening, promising that Hamas would pay an insufferable price for continued cross-border rocket fire.
At this hour, our forces are completing the disabling and destruction of the tunnels, the Gaza terror tunnels. So far, they have eliminated dozens of tunnels. This operation hurts a strategic array in which Hamas put a huge effort for years. In the beginning of the operation, we promised to return calm to the citizens of Israel. We will continue to pursue this cause until it is reached, no matter how long it will take and how much force will be needed. I would like to clarify, we have nothing against Gazan civilians who are not involved with terror. On the contrary, we are sorry for every civilian who is hit by mistake. We are recruiting the international community to support this goal of linking the rebuilding and developing of Gaza to its demilitarization. But even more important, it may surprise many people, but we are not surprised. The unique connection created between us and regional countries, that is a very important asset to the State of Israel. When the fighting ends, this will open new possibilities for us. There are people in the world who understand exactly who Hamas are, the same group that, together with Qatar, promised to the United States Secretary of State John Kerry and the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon a ceasefire and deceived them. I welcome U.S. President Barack Obama's and U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry's clear statement blaming Hamas for breaking the ceasefire, and I welcome Obama's statement that Israel has a right to defend itself against rocket fire and terror tunnels.
And we're now joined on the phone by Lieutenant Colonel Peter Lerner, Israeli Defense Forces spokesperson. Good morning, Lieutenant Colonel Lerner. If you could start, please, by explaining how exactly did the IDF determine that Officer Hadar Goldin has actually been killed?
Good morning. Indeed, overnight, we announced that we had concluded that Lieutenant Hadar Goldin had been killed in action on Friday during the ceasefire. We came to the conclusion, without going into too many details, based on the items, the findings in the field, and after medical and religious discussions that took place based on those findings. That is why our Chief of Manpower, Major General Orna Barobivai, went to speak to the family, accompanied by the IDF Chief Rabbi, late last night, to convey our findings, and in the immediate aftermath we announced it to the public.
Well, do we know how and when he died?
Our understanding was in the immediate aftermath of the attack, yes.
I understand. And the way this happened, can you elaborate on that?
Well, the attack took place when a suicide bomber came out and gunmen, in a simultaneous orchestrated attack, began shooting in all the directions there of the forces. Indeed, he was missing in action from the immediate aftermath, and the IDF had carried out a hot pursuit into the tunnel. Some of the findings were from that pursuit. And that was after analyzing what we found and putting all of the components together in the equation, we came to the conclusion that he was killed in that action. Yeah.
I understand. Can you please elaborate about the decision to partially withdraw from Gaza? What exactly does this mean?
Well, it means that the IDF is maintaining the operational initiative, that we can continue to operate, that there are no restraints on our action, on the capability to action. It means that we will not be in the immediate points of friction with the population, but rather with the operational advantage that easily enables us easily to mobilize to address threats towards the State of Israel. Nothing in substance has changed. We've moved on to another level, and as I've spoken several times over the last 3 weeks with I24, indeed this is a gradual mission, increasing almost on every day with different components. So we are moving on to the next level, moving up one more notch into an operational reality where the IDF has no restraints, has only has the freedom to operate and address the threats as they arise.
Lieutenant Colonel Peter Lerner, thank you very much for this conversation this morning.
Good morning.
And I24 News reporter Mirav Savir is on the Gaza Strip border. Mirav, we now hear reports of IDF troops pulling back from Gaza. What can you update from the ground?
Well, Shachar, as far as we know, the IDF continued attacking targets overnight, and we saw that started around 11-12 when we were still near the border. What we should keep an eye out for today is the tunnels. The IDF knows of at least 32 of them located around the Gaza Strip and coming into Israeli territory. We know that they're almost complete with destroying these tunnels. We're being told at least over 30 of these operational tunnels have been destroyed, and the operation could be complete within the next 24 hours. After that, there may be some tunnels that they still use to escape, but the major ones, the ones at Erez, the ones at Kerem Shalom, and the ones at Rafah have already been destroyed, and that's the next move or the next completion that we could see coming even as early as this evening.
Yes, Mirav Savir on the Gaza border, thank you very much for this report. And Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi said yesterday that his government's ceasefire plan is now the only alternative. He spoke in Cairo after a meeting with the Italian Prime Minister.
I want to say that the initiative stands and is able to resolve the issue. Efforts do not just begin during the period of this crisis. No, Egyptian efforts began a long time ago, but some things are announced and others are not. We are still continuing these efforts with everyone, with all sides. I want to say again that the core of the Egyptian initiative allows for no obstacles against a real end to Palestinian bloodshed and the violence that we're seeing now, day after day. We proposed it, the initiative, before the ground assault, when the number of dead could not be compared to what we have now. And the destruction we're talking about now is not what it was before. I do not want to talk about the past, but I want to say that the initiative is able to resolve the issue in a very good way. Why? Because it opens the doors, without constraints, towards reaching a truce, the entry of aid, followed by all other issues. It's as simple as that. There are no other alternatives.
And back to our opening story, Israeli military released a statement announcing the death of kidnapped Israeli soldier Second Lieutenant Hadar Golding, saying he was killed in fighting in Gaza. We now can hear a spokesperson of the family, on behalf of the Golding family, giving this announcement.
With great sorrow, the Golden family announces that it accepts the IDF's pronouncement that Second Lieutenant Hadar Golding, a commander in the Gaza elite unit, died in fighting in Rafah. The family thanks the whole country of Israel for its support, and the exact date of the funeral will be announced in the near future. On behalf of the family, I ask every person in Israel to come and accompany Hadar in his final burial.
And that's all the time we have for now. Join us again in 20 minutes. You can also log on to our website, i24news.tv. I'm Shachar Peled. Thanks for watching.